Hello everyone, I'm Jane MOK, and my study is about undergraduates' knowledge, attitudes, and practice on animal antibiotic consumption and antimicrobial resistance and the prevalence of antibiotic-resistant Salmonella in pork. First, let me introduce a little bit background information. AMR is one of the biggest problems worldwide. The development of AMR happens gradually through genetic changes over time and is speeded up by widespread use of antimicrobials nowadays. However, the development of new antimicrobials is much slower. As a result, at least 700,000 people died because of drug-resistant disease every year, and it creates a significant burden to both economy and the healthcare system and threatens the global health and the world's sustainable development. AMR can be passed from animal to animal or animal to human by direct contact or indirectly through the food chain. To be more specific, the necessary antibiotics given to food-producing animals aim to enhance the growth rate, would accelerate the development of drug-resistant bacteria. Then the bacteria would reach humans through food, environment, or by direct human-animal contact. At last, the bacteria would spread to the general public. During this process, the zoonotic bacteria such as Salmonella will operate as AMR gene carriers. Except attaining resistance, these pathogens can also receive extra-virulent genetic elements and lead to the growth of pathogenicity or virulence. This study aims to determine the undergraduates' KP on animal antibiotic consumption, examine their views on potential prevention measures against AMR resulted from food chain, and investigate the prevalence of antibiotic-resistant Salmonella in pork in Hong Kong. Concerning the methodology, this is a cross-sectional study which is divided into two parts. In the first part, undergraduates' KP on animal antibiotic consumption and AMR was investigated using online questionnaire. In the second part, the prevalence of antibiotic-resistant Salmonella in pork was detected through experiments. Samples were collected from wet market, supermarket, and frozen meat shop. The collected samples were measured, labeled, and put in separate aseptic bag and transported to the laboratory in an ice bag. After transferring to the laboratory, this diffusion test had been done to detect the Salmonella. Buffered Paton water and THEi was used for selective enrichment during the detection, as it helps to renovate the Salmonella after being blended in the stomacher, enhance the Salmonella's growth, and inhibit other bacteria's growth. Carby-Biodis diffusion susceptibility test was then used to measure the resistance rate, and the diameter of the clear zone were measured to interpret the susceptibility level. Here's the findings. Concerning the knowledge, the overall performance was unsatisfactory, with an overall mean score is 4.34 out of 9 marks. With the advantage of program content, respondents studying medical-related majors scored significantly higher than the non-medical related majors. Concerning attitude, firstly, the male respondents had a higher agreement level to the statement which antibiotic use on food-producing animal should only be administered by a vet. Second, the respondents with higher knowledge of AMR were more preferring to buy antibiotic-free meat over meat products. Concerning practice, respondents with higher knowledge of AMR were more likely to have bought antibiotic-free meat over meat products in last year. For the experiment result, 80% of the samples were positive for Salmonella, while samples from supermarket had the lowest prevalence rate. Besides, more than 90% of the isolates are resistant to ampicillin, while only 12.5% are resistant to ciprofloxacin. Same as the result of the prevalence rate, isolates from supermarket samples had the lowest resistance rate. To conclude, It is suggested that the government should have more promotions concerning development and prevention of AMR, such as advertisement on social platforms, talks and activities at schools, and competitions to enhance undergraduates' knowledge of AMR. Moreover, the use of antibiotics in agriculture industry should be restricted and reduced, so to retard and alleviate the development of AMR. This study helps to shed the light on animal antibiotic consumption and provide a greater understanding of the prevalence of antibiotic-resistant Salmonella in pork in Hong Kong. While the data collected can be used as baseline data for future interventions and public health campaigns. That's all for my sharing. Thank you for listening.